Good morning, everybody. This is Linda from North Central Texas. How's everybody doing today? Well, we got yellow squash, and I've been wanting to cook some yellow squash patties, so that's what we're going to do today, and I'm going to show you how I do it. First of all, let's bring you over here. And I do have my blender or my food processor right here that we're going to be using. I'm going to put in just a little bit of cabbage. And I've got this on the shred mode, so we'll see what happens here. It's neat that it has a little tube that you push down in there. Make sure you get everything chopped up. I'm going to add about one small bell pepper that was from out of the yard. Some of the peeling doesn't look too good, and I don't want to put the bad looking part in there. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but and you know, if you have a large family, you can double this recipe, triple it, whatever you need to do. Now we're going to put in about a half of an onion. And we're just shredding it up with this food processor. And that's basically the ingredients we're going to put in there. We got some stuff left in the lid. That onion is really burning. Let's get some of this out of the way. Put this onion in the bag and put it in the refrigerator. Ooh, I can't handle to breathe that anymore. Strong. Now, we've got to get our mixture into our bowl. I'm hoping this bowl is big enough. If it's not, but that's better than having to chop up that by hand. Now, I'm going to add my egg. I'm going to add some, hold on just a second. I got salt and pepper. Did I do with my, my garlic? Now you can put fresh garlic in here. I just didn't do it. Pepper. Regular salt. Just a little. And then we're just going to mix the egg up. I'm going to put in about a 1/4 cup of cheese. And this is sharp cheddar. Guess I can raise that just a tiny bit so you're not looking at the floor. I'm going to add about that's about a 1/2 cup of flour. I'm going to put in about a 1/2 cup of cornmeal mixture. Maybe just a little bit more flour. Not much. Mix that in a little because you've got enough moisture in there basically to almost mix up this. You don't want it too watery, but we are going to add some water. I've got a cup full of water measured out here. Now we're going to come over here. After I clean up a little bit of this. I just don't like to leave a mess in my kitchen, even when I'm working in here. But now I'm going to proceed to fry our little patties. Put some olive oil, that's a healthier choice. Get that heated up. Just folded a paper towel in force and we'll put it right in the middle of the plate because, you know, this is olive oil. We don't care if some of the oil stays in the patty. It's healthy. It's good for you. Now, while that's heating up, I'm going to go ahead and rinse these out a little bit. You always work better when your kitchen's clean, or you know, you don't have a bunch of dirty dishes around your kitchen, or I do anyway. I don't know about you. That blade good and washed. Turn this around so I don't accidentally bump it. A little bit of that stuff caught up in there. There, it all comes out easy enough. I think my pan is hot. We'll turn it down just a tiny bit. Spoon my patties in the pan. I don't like to make them too big. They cook a lot better if they're not too awfully big. And as I said, while those are frying, I'm just going to rinse this out a little bit real fast. makes me feel better if I keep my kitchen clean while I'm cooking. Or if I can, you know, 'cause sometimes you can't always do that. But I like to not have a big mess. Turned it down almost too much. Oh, where's my water? Gotta have me some water. Right here. Just enough to wet my throat. Really turned that one too soon. A little bit too soon. I either get my pan too hot or not hot enough. But I think these are going to be good today. But it's a great way to use your bell pepper, your onions, your cabbage, and your yellow squash from the garden. But you can tell when they're ready to turn, they'll start getting kind of dried on top. Not really dry, but they're not so like watery on top. And they should be a golden brown on the underside. There's so many different ways that you can use your vegetables from your garden. You just have to be a little creative. You know what? I feel like some iced coffee. Delight iced coffee. I think that'll hit the spot today. Y'all have some iced coffee with me. That hits the spot. Cold, refreshing, and it tastes really good. Aren't they looking good? Nice and golden brown. Well, I can't get this one up. Y'all bear with me. But I had that little bit of leftover cabbage, and it was just the right amount to go in these little patties. And I'm just putting a good heaping tablespoon to each patty. That makes them just the right size, for me anyway. That is so good. Y'all need to try some iced coffee. And y'all notice I'm not using bacon grease to fry my patties. I'm using olive oil, which is the healthy choice. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I watered or put compost tea with fish emulsion to my plants this morning, some of them. I got some of them watered yesterday with compost tea. But it's a job when you got to carry around a little bucket to water your plants. But they needed fertilizer, you know, food. So I tried to go around and give some to each plant all over the yard, which took me 3 days. And then the next time I water, I'll just use the garden hose. Drench them good, and that'll wash that compost tea further down into the roots with that fish emulsion, so it should do them some good. But we've got over 100-degree temperatures for a whole week, like 6-7 days coming up, starting yesterday. And my plants are already suffering, you know, after all that heavy rain and all the storms we had. Then it went into a complete about face with the heat and the drought. I just don't know. Most places they're getting hot temperatures, but they are getting a little rain every day. We're not supposed to get any rain at all. So I don't know what of my plants will survive, you know. I wasn't expecting over 100-degree temperatures for a week or longer with no rain. And it is amongst us, so I don't know. These are looking good. They're going to be a good lunch today. Drink me some iced coffee and eat my squash patties. Squash and cabbage. These are going to be good, y'all. Once you get your pan at the right temperature, you don't have to adjust the heat anymore. You don't have to turn it down or turn it up. Just leave it at that temperature. When you know it's getting your patties nice and golden brown like they are, then just leave that temperature right there. I think we've got about 3 more to do after this, and we should have them all done. But you want to leave them cook on that first side until the top of it starts to dry a little bit. Not completely, but just a little. That way you can flip them over without them tearing up. I always can just do better with a fork. I'm so used to doing it with a fork. It's hard to do it with anything else other than my fork. And you have to add a little bit of olive oil as you go. Because anything you put flour or cornmeal in is going to absorb a little bit of that oil. But at least we got a healthy olive oil. We're not using other oils that are not good for you. Yeah, I don't know how my garden's going to fare this week with no rain and the temperatures in the triple digits, so we'll just have to wait and see. They've already been struggling. You know, I've come to the conclusion back during the day when people had to grow their own food, raise their own meat. It was a lot of hard work, but you know, I think they ate pretty good. They ate healthy food didn't have a lot of preservatives and stuff in it like we have in our food today, unless you can grow it yourself. Just don't try to rush the cooking, because if you get it at the right temperature where they get them a really golden brown, by the time they're browned on each side, the cabbage and the squash should be cooked tender. If you rush it too fast, you'll get a browning on the outside, but your cabbage and your squash and your onions are going to be raw, and that's not going to be good. So you got to take your time when you're frying your patties, because you want them to be done. You don't want them raw. Pretty and golden brown. And you know, I never even counted how many that was. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 squash and cabbage patties. Out of just one squash, a half an onion, a small bell pepper out of the garden, and not even quite a quarter of a cabbage, a medium-sized cabbage. So I think we did pretty good. And this is going to be a healthy dish. You know, it's a lot healthier than some things you get out there today. And probably tastes a lot better too. Gotta go to my iced coffee. I could just down that stuff. So good. And I have to thank Regina and my son for the gift of my food processor that I shredded my veggies in to make these patties. It's a lot easier to throw it in something like that and shred them up than try to shred them by hand or by a hand grater thing, which I've got those, but it's a lot of work and takes a lot of time too. I'm just rotating these in the pan because sometimes it gets hotter right in the center, so therefore it will brown that edge of your patty quicker than it does the other side. So I like to rotate them occasionally. Put just a tiny bit more olive oil in here. Not much. But you know, in Italy they say that most people over there will take a tablespoon of olive oil every morning. So I don't mind getting it in my food to eat. So I don't think I could take it just by the spoonful. But they say that's how healthy it is for you. And you can freeze these squash patties. If you're one of these people that like to freeze stuff for the winter, cook you up a bunch of squash and cabbage with bell pepper patties and put them in little baggies and put them in your freezer. That way later when you want some of them to eat, you just take them out, warm them up, and they're already made. And they were fresh out of your garden. I didn't intend to do that, but it happened. See how pretty and gold and brown they're getting, and they're not burning because I've got my temperature just right. You'll have to play with your temperature to get it just right. And that's probably about a medium to high right there. It's not going full blast. It's about a medium to high heat. Now you can cook these in a cast iron pan if you have one. I've got one, I just chose not to drag it out this morning. And they cook real good in a cast iron pan. Leave in the comments, have you ever tried squash with cabbage and bell pepper patties before? And if not, do you think you would try them? I think you'd be glad you did if you did try them, because they are really good. Some people say they lose weight eating these squash, cabbage, and with bell pepper patties. I don't know. I've not just strictly eaten these every day, so I don't know if I'd lose weight on them or not. I'd probably eat so many of them I'd gain weight because they're that good. They're just that good. Let that bottom brown just a tiny bit more and they'll be done, y'all. Oh, that counter looked like it was wet. I must have spilled water over there a while ago. Can't have a wet counter. Oh, come on. See if I can get one of these cooler ones over here. But y'all, don't that plate of little fritters look good? Yellow squash and cabbage. this. I wanted to show the squash. Y'all, try you some yellow squash with cabbage and bell pepper with onion patties. I think you will love them. Don't they look good? Gotta try one. Look at that. Y'all take the first bite. Open wide. Come on. You can do it. Dear Lord, bless us for our food. Amen. That's winning, y'all. Take another bite. They're crunchy. You can taste the yellow squash. You can taste the cheese. You can taste the onion. You taste the cabbage. It's so good. So good, y'all. And my coffee is too. Oh, goodness. Take another bite. That is a winning dish. And y'all, until next time, please try you some yellow squash with cabbage, bell peppers, and onions from your garden. I think you'll be glad you did. And I'll see you on my next one. Love y'all. Bye now.